ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to round 1 of the ASRC Classic F1 Championship 1993. My name is David Buckley and I'll be taking you through all the action this evening. We have round 1 is at the Brazilian Grand Prix, and that is from the world-renowned circuit of Interlagos in Sao Paulo. So just a little bit of history about this race. The real race in 1993 was won by Ayrton Senna, crowd favourite obviously, and it was a historic win in changing conditions ahead of David Hill and Michael Schumacher. So in terms of the event this evening, we're not expecting to see such changing conditions this evening, clear weather throughout I believe, and the cars in this championship all based off the winning car from that 1993 Brazilian Grand Prix, the McLaren MP48. So this car comes fitted with 3.5 litre 4V8, pushing up to 600 brake horsepower, with only just a little bit of traction control just to keep you in control and help tame that power. So these cars are regarded some of the best ever built by including myself, and we'll see the true talent of each driver shine through this evening. You join us just partway through qualifying, so we'll just go to our qualifying here. We'll see Sander van Leuven, if I've said that correctly, is currently sat in pole position with 1:11.007, and we have Jacob Kowalski in a second place with a 1:11.628. Vladislav Zenkov is in third place at 1:11.765. And then Nick Stepanenko in fourth position, 1:12.238. Twen Subic in fifth place in the sixth car, 1:12.279. So, we are partway through qualifying. There's just under 10 minutes of the qualifying left to go, and we will see how the drivers contain these beasts of cars and get to the end of this 71 lap race. So, not a short lap by any means. So we'll see who is currently on track. Our provisional pole sitter, Sander van Leuven, is on track at the moment, getting a little bit squirrely, and he is currently on a lap. So bring up all the details here, and we'll see how he is getting on. So number 28 Ferrari, in that fantastic red and white livery car. So all the liveries you'll see this evening are accurate to the 1993 season. Some of the cars won't look quite as the same due to the body styles, all based off the McLaren obviously, but you will definitely see some recognisable cars this evening and some classic liveries that I think you will appreciate. So we'll jump on board with the pole sitter here if you want to take a lap, and we'll take you around the lap of this fantastic circuit, which is Interlagos. So coming along the back straight now, across the start finish line, you can see so much speed you take, and just braking very, very late past the 50 marker, gets it stopped into the S's at the beginning through turn 2, full power all the way through, and then this is just a flat out straight run to the next set of corners. A little bit of traffic ahead that is just coming out of the pits, which should be okay for now. Braking once again very late at the 50 marker into the left-hander, careful on the track limits on the exit, and then storming through into turn 4. Little bit of braking, one downshift, and then on throttle once again, braking into the middle section now. Big oversteer moments there for Van Leuven as he tries to go through his Scamorza. I think Van Leuven got held up by his teammate a little bit there, which is unfortunate, but he backs out of this lap and he will go again. We'll still ride on board as we'll just ride ourselves around the lap if he's continuing on. But Scamorza there, Mauro Scamorza is currently in provisional pole. He's at 1:10.842, so that's the first car in the 1:10. So I'm sure we'll see several other drivers get into there. Slightly depleted field that we should see. I think there's about 19 cars registered for the series, 12 this evening, which should still make for an interesting race. And then once again, Van Leuven starts his lap once more. So Scamorza in current pole position. He's just coming to the pit. He's driving in Jordan, and obviously all the cars have equal performance. So you won't see, unfortunately, you might see some very strange cars coming into pole position. But you can see one of the McLaren's coming in there. That's a fantastic livery on the Jordan, I must say, from the 1993 season. Obviously, reflecting the 1993 Formula 1 season, there is no speed limit in the pit lane, so you will see them absolutely fly down here. as as the race progresses, and obviously pit stops will be required for fuel and probably definitely tyres as well. So looking back down the order here, we'll see who's on a decent lap here, and we'll try and get some different cars to look at. Here we have Timon Subic, who's just coming across the line. He's set a lap time on at 13.499. He's currently driving the Benetton, which you will all know is the car that Michael Schumacher drove during this season, put a stomping challenge to the championship, I do believe. The 6th car, currently sat in 6th position, is Subic, so he's got a little bit of work to do to get back on the pace, but just under 1.5 seconds off the lead time. And most cars on track, so the track is very busy. You see all the sparks come off the car there. You can see how low to the ground these cars are running off the front wing, causing those sparks. Also, Subic getting a little bit locked up, coming into the slow middle sector, braking once again through these series of hairpins. And then flat out now, pretty much all the way, a little bit of braking coming into the final real corner on track, and then all the way flat out to the line now, so we'll see what kind of time Subic can pull here. He's green in sector 1 and 2 with a 17.8 and a 36.8, so comes across the line now. It's 111.939, so that is an improvement for Subic. That puts him up into 5th position and knocks down Nick Stepanenko into 6th. He is also on a lap as well in the sister Ferrari, number 27. So he's come across that now. He's not up on his times in sector 1 and 2, so this is not going to be a good lap. This obviously looking at the times, he's coming into the pits, so we're not able to improve there. We'll have a look at Kowalski here. He's in the number 8 McLaren, driven by Ed Senna in the real Grand Prix season. Coming through the middle sector there. He's down on his first sector. We'll see if he can improve. No, he doesn't. He spins. It gets right in the way of one of the Benettons there. I'm not sure who that was. That wasn't Scamorza. But yeah, that was not ideal for number 8 there. Not really getting in the way. The pits now is Kowalski, obviously ruining those tyres with his earlier spin, and Donut comes back, new set, and he'll be back on his way. Benetton coming into the pits as well. So look here, this is Lee Russell in the sister McLaren. That is driven in real life by Hackett, I believe. I'm terrible with remembering this far back. It was the year before I was born, so I'm not entirely sure. Yep, Mika Hakkinen and also Michael Andretti as well was in that car. So he is just coming on to the outlap at the moment. Thanks for a brief rundown as we've get into the closing stage of this qualifying. The actual season itself in the calendar. So I'll quickly bring that up as we watch Lee Russell just on his outlap. I was right on board with him for a quick second. Just an idea of the noise that these cars make. It's absolutely stunning noise as you sparks off and actually cars through. So yeah, absolutely stunning noise coming from these engines. As I said in the intro, 3.5 litre V8, naturally aspirated. And some of the earliest cars, I believe, to have sequential gearboxes in Formula 1. Ferrari obviously pioneering that technology in the early 90s with their car not necessarily successful with that gearbox, but obviously the technology was developed and it was improved upon, and we get to the point now where every single car, apart from a couple of minnows at the back of the field, would run the sequential electronic gearbox. So we'll just let you listen to the noises of the McLaren MP48 for this lap on board with Lee Russell. So see that unfortunately Lee Russell having to back out that the final corner there. It looks like he got a little bit of oversteer coming to the braking zone. That would ruin you run it all the way up to the line. That is unfortunate as he was green. Both sectors now, they're putting up in the field 79 and a 37-1. As we can see here, Sander van Nuven in the Ferrari, currently going purple in the second sector, who was not improving in the first, so coming across the line now as the timer is going to 0-3, another lap in, he goes 10.861, not quite close enough for pole, but he has got the time to make another run. So keep an eye on him. Scamosa comes across the line, he is not able to improve, he goes back to the pits, so one last opportunity, less than a tenth of a second between the top two cars. These guys are going to be in a class of their own, it seems, come the race. Zenkov is in third position, he's a little bit back and he's not going to be able to set another time. Kowalski as well, he is in the pits and not setting another time, so Stepanenko has work to do to get any further up to the grid than fifth. Keep an eye on Van Nuven here, he is setting a personal best first sector, 17.629. Very sort of squirrely on the apex there. He's down in the second sector by quite a margin, it seems. So we'll have to see if he can improve now. Coming up to the final corner across the line. Is he going to make any improvements? No, he dives into the pits. So that will be your order, I believe. Looks like Stepanenko is in the sister Ferrari, looking to improve his position. He's down in the first sector by quite a margin, so it doesn't look like he is going to improve on his time. And then Lee Russell as well pulling over. So I believe this will be your order for the start of the race. So we'll just see Stepanenko finishing his lap here. He's coming to the second sector. He's a little bit, as I said, very down on time. But we'll wait and see if anything comes of this. Yeah, so the second sector he's way down there, so he will not be improving. So Scamosa in the Jordan is taking the maiden pole of the championship. Sander van Nuven very close behind is in second place, and then Vlad in third position as the Ferrari number 27 dives into the pit lane. So interesting to see everyone get round there. I'll run through the full grid order with you now. If I can find the correct button. So there we go. So, as I said, pole position, Scamosa in first position there, Sander van Nuven in the Ferrari. Second place, third position, Vlad Zenkov in the Benetton, and then fourth place is Kowalski in the McLaren. Number 27, Nick Stepanenko is in fifth position in the sister Ferrari, with Timon Suvic in the Benetton in sixth, Lee Russell in seventh, and Dale Bolweg in eighth. Ninth position we have Marcin Sokolovsky in the Lotus, followed by the Minardi of Victor Cabello, and then rounding off the group we have Tony Mitsalsis and Vadim Steblin. So that's your grid for the race. We'll be shortly going to, I believe, either a warm-up session or the race itself. So we'll keep an eye on that one. So as I said earlier, 71 lap race this evening, or 2 hours max time. We have a 10-minute warm-up session now. We can have a quick chat about the cars and the circuit, a bit of history as well, if we can get that in there as well. So, yeah, it's going to be a really tough race. This is a physical track. Lots of high-speed corners, lots of heavy braking zones in the middle sector as well. So you've really got to be on it here, and the speeds are so high. These cars are not easy to drive by any stretch of the imagination. So it's going to be a fantastic race to watch. These 12 drivers ragging these cars around. So yeah, just a little bit of history about the race itself. So the Brazilian Grand Prix in 1993 was actually round 2 of the season. Round 1 was in Kyalami in South Africa. So qualifying, both Williams of Prost and Hill were in first and second. Senna qualified in third, and Schumacher in fourth, with Andretti in fifth. So Senna managed to get ahead of Hill at the beginning of the race, and behind him Andretti collided with Berger and a Ferrari, after being challenged by Linger. End of the race there. Basically, there was quite a lot of changing weather. The heavy rain started to pour, causing a lot of cars to retire. Fittipaldi and Prost retired there as well. Fittipaldi spun on lap 13 as he was returning to the track. Prost had crashed into him, so that brought out the safety car, with Hill leading the race there. So as the track began to dry out, drivers all pitted for the dry tyres, and during Schumacher's pit stop, his car fell off his jack and causing him a lot of time, so he rejoined the race behind Senna, with Herbert Blundell gaining pace on him. So shortly after that, Senna overtook Hill for the first position, quickly bound to run away. Schumacher and Lacey were given stop-go penalties for overtaking under a yellow flag, so not the race for Schumacher this one. So Schumacher ended up in 5th after that penalty. So at the end of the race, Ayrton Senna would take the win and won his first race of the season, with Damon Hill in 2nd position, Schumacher in 3rd, Johnny Herbert and Mark Blundell in 5th and 6th respectively. Then Alessandro Zanardi, who would take 6th position, and that will be his only points finish in Formula 1. So, point structure this evening, we have the old school points scoring system, where we have 10 points to 1st, and then all the way down to 6th position, where the driver finishing in 6th will get 1 point. So, finishing position is very important in this race, as only half of the field is going to score points, whereas the modern day system would give points to the top 10. So you can see here the pole sitter Scamosa in his Jordan. I must say that is a fantastic looking livery on that car. Always loved the look of the classic Jordan cars, everything from the 7-Up car of the early 90s to the closing stages of the team, where the buzzing Hornets, the non-tobacco branded livery will be. So it's just some debris on the track there. Looks like someone's had a bit of an off. Obviously the wings on these cars are very delicate, so any contact between drivers probably will end up with some damage. We'll have a look at some of the other cars on circuit. This is one of the Tyrrell cars, which later in life was the Tyrrell team at this point. They've gone from domination of the sport in the early 70s and into the 80s, and by now we're just starting to fall off the rest of the grid. Not as successful as they could be, but Vadim Steblin here is hoping to rekindle some of that glory in that livery car. I must say it looks very tasty indeed, the red, white and blue livery. We have Bolbag there in the footwork Mugen Honda. He's currently in the pit, so we can't get a decent look at that, but once again, footwork not necessarily a team that saw much success in Formula 1 during a short time in the sport, but it's always nice to see some of the less popular teams get a drive in a series such as this. Salis there in one of the Minardis, and his teammate Victor Cabello. Minardi, as everyone will know, as Cabello gets into the water, big crash there. Hopefully he doesn't end up doing that in the race. Just see how low these cars are running to the ground. There's one small bit of unsettling. Car just bounces on this incredibly stiff suspension and off the floor and into the walls. So back to Scamosa and Jun. Minardi, everyone knows the story of Minardi being the Mercedes F1 team. Was how it was eventually bought out. Minardi, Jaguar to Braun, then Braun to Mercedes. If I'm not remembering that correctly, please do correct me if I'm wrong, but a story of rags to riches, some may say. session, and then we'll be into the race itself, full Grand Prix distance, and it's going to be quite interesting to see who has the race pace, who can manage the strategy, and just stay out of trouble for that time and get to the checkered flag. As I said earlier, every position counts here because you need to be able to score those points early on in the season. So back on board with Minardi here, Tony Mitsalis is starting the race from a little bit further down the order, not the best qualifying for him to start the season, but plenty of time to gain positions during the race. So everyone is very familiar with the Formula 1 format of racing, and Grand Prix itself. Fantastic, historic cars driving around here. Pure just engineering wizardry. That's not. This is a kind of period in Formula 1 where things started to go a little bit mad in terms of electronics. We had in the early 90s the Williams cars with their trick suspension and traction control, anti-lock braking system. We've all seen the videos of the Williams bobbing up and down in the with that trick suspension, looking absolutely fantastic. Yeah, we can start to see kind of the electronic boom of Formula 1 here with the driving aids, electronic sequential gearboxes, which leaves the drivers with both hands on the wheel at all times, which is something that is it's a major stepping point. It also left a lot of room in the cockpit that could be taken out, because obviously you don't need a gear shifter, a gear stick, to take up a portion of your cockpit. So we start to see cars that are much skinnier, much lower profile, and obviously a lot more aerodynamically efficient through the air. Speaking of aerodynamics as well, these cars just simple when it comes to the aerodynamics. This is just before the aerodynamic kind of craze of the late 90s and early to mid 2000s, where you'd see appendages on the cars that are jutting out everywhere, which kind of culminated in the early 2017 season. Those cars looking absolute spaceships with all the little bits and bobs sticking off them. But yeah, nothing along those lines here. See on the Minardi car, which is obviously a McLaren body, just some barge boards sticking off there, and then the front rear wings, and then that's pretty much it in terms of your aerodynamic aids. Obviously a lot of aerodynamic work going into the body itself, so just for to be as efficient as it possibly can through the air, but it just looks clean, it looks tidy, and right on board with Mitsalis as well, you'll see just up there, if I move the driver box, you see how simple that cockpit is. Steering wheel, it just looks like a steering wheel, to give it that, and there's just barely any appendages or buttons or anything on the steering wheel. Just a simple thing. If you can see the cockpits as well in these cars, if you do own R-Factor 2, these cars are completely free to drive, and they're fantastically well made. You just see that the dashboard, super simple, rev limit, the rev counter, and some basic necessities, and that's it. So it really is a raw experience driving one of these cars, and can only imagine what it must have felt like in period, as I'm just coming up to the end of the warm session. that's Mitsalis going a little bit wide into the braking zone there, just got himself a little bit overzealous, I would say. But yep, that's the end of the qualifying session. We're just waiting for the rest of the cars to return to the pits and finish their laps, and then we'll get into the race session itself. So once again, 71 laps around the Interlagos circuit, and top 6 drivers scoring points. Everyone will want to get a good start to the season. I'll just quickly run through the starting order once again here for you. So Scamorza in first place, followed by Van Leuven in second. Third place is lines as of Zenkov, and 4th place there. We've got 5th place of Nick Stepanenko, and then 6th is the Benetton. Then 7th and 8th positions there, and then the rest of the grid follows up. 9th is the Lotus at number 11, and then 10th is the number 23 Minardi of Victor, and the rest of the grid forming up behind them. So as we wait for everyone to get to the grid now. Got our pole sitter on the grid already. And this is where the nerves will start to set in now. You'll have to get everything right in this start. You need to make sure the car is well warmed, and you should be really careful on the tyres. Everyone that just starts to move away. Is somebody going off there? I think slightly early. I'm not entirely sure what's happened there. I think everyone's just figuring out the process of starting here. There might be a couple of small issues as everybody just gets used to the start procedures. There we go, we've got the pole setter back on the grid. Van Nuven is just waiting in the pit lane for a moment. He'll be on the grid, waiting for a couple of other drivers to form onto the grid. I think we're waiting on just a couple more, and then we'll get the race underway. Just think of to get onto the grid now. Full field of 12 cars this evening, and we will get the racing underway. Let's start to rise. Move away on our formation lap. So this is the moment where you can get the cars up to temperature, get the tyres up to temperature, brakes up to the temperature you need to, because that will be absolutely vital coming into turn 1 and 2 to ensure you've got the grip to defend your position, to attack where needed. Little note on race director here, looking through the regulations and some of the stewards' notes. There is a first lap zone in effect, which is roughly about a quarter of the first lap, where any penalties or any incidents of that are recorded by the race director will be issued with harsh penalties than normal in the race. So an incentive not to go too crazy on the first lap and send it where you don't need to. It's a long race, so getting to the front of the pack by the end of turn 1 isn't necessarily going to be helpful for you. So see the pole sitter here, fairly pacey formation lap. He doesn't want to be holding on for too long here. Hopefully he's able to get enough heat into the tyres and the brakes. He's really not waiting around. You can see here the second place car of Sander Van Nuven is just about 4 seconds back, more than the 10 car lengths, which is similar to what we may have been discussing in a previous real life Grand Prix. But no matter for the time being, see him weaving around there, trying to get as much heat into those tyres as possible, the Goodyear tyres on these cars. Here we go, grid forming up here, burnouts just to get as much heat into the tyres as possible, get the best launch, get some rubber laid down on the grid as well. The longer the pole sitter sits, the more heat leaves the car. So everyone is formed up now. Lights go on, the revs rise, and lights are out, and we're off. It's a good start for the pole sitter of Simsports, but Van Nuven gets a stonking great start. He is into lead. It's a side-by-side McLaren and Benetton in the background. It looks like Kowalski is able to hold on. No, here comes Benetton back around the outside. He's able to hold on to that. But look at the lead that Van Nuven's got. He's got a stonking launch off the start there. He's managed to get a good 3.5 to 4/10 of a second, as it's 3 wide in the background. We'll see there, as we see Kowalski there trying to go around the outside of the Jordan, not able to make that stick. He has to go wide, loses position to Zenkov in the Benetton. So he's going to be under attack. He's in a Benetton sandwich right now. You see Stepanenko is under attack from the McLaren. of Lee Russell in the background as well. Got Minardi of Cabello in there as well, looking to make moves. But no, everyone holding up for the moment, very nearly losing the back end there as Cabello goes around the inside of Lee Russell. McLaren has the better line for the next corner, sweeps around the outside, and the Cabello has to give up that position for the time being. Back to the leader race. Van Leuven is getting reeled in ever so slightly by Scamorza here. And we'll see if the slipstream helps ducking out of the slipstream a little bit there was Scamorza. So maybe just running the engine a little bit hot. Ducks back into the slipstream now. This is going to bring him closer, not close enough in the braking zone, however. And Van Leuven holds off on that position for the time being. Good start for Cabello there. He's able to gain 2 positions off the start as Bullwang, unfortunately, the biggest loser in this, losing 3 positions off the start, but plenty of time to get in those back. Top 2 cars. Oh, there's contact between the two. Scamorza goes round. He makes contact with the back of the McLaren, and they're both off. So that is a disaster for the top 2 cars. They managed to rejoin, but that is not how you want to start the race. So that gifts the lead to Vladislav Zenkov in the Benetton, with Jacob Kowalski closing in for 2nd place. So yeah, not the best start there for these 2 drivers. Unfortunately, it looks like the stewards might have to look at that one after the race. Yeah, Scamorza really did not get the best starts there. Van Leuven able to recover slightly. He is in 7th position, so he's just outside the points now, and he's going to be closing in on the rest of the pack. He's got the pace, so we'll see what comes of that. The front of the field now. This is the fight for 1st position. Got McLaren and Jacob Kowalski coming on the inside. Oh, there's a contact in the background. Who was that? Looks like someone going into the barrier on the outside of the final corner. I'm not entirely sure who that was, but there was a front wing going off. So we'll see what happens with that. That looks like was that Scamorza. Oh, Scamorza's off! Scamorza's had a terrible start to the race. He's off once again. This is terrible for him. Victor Cabello is out of the race as well. Not entirely sure what happened to the Minardi there, but this is a disaster for the poles there. So he's gone from 1st to last there. That's awful. So, but plenty of time to recover. Back to the front of the field, side by side. McLaren's trying to go around the outside of the Benetton. Gets a little bit off on the corner, on the apex of the corner, so wasn't able to keep that together. So lost a little bit of time, and he's going to have to gain that back to challenge Zenkov once again. As we've got Timon Suvic as well closing in, and the rest of the pack. So the field really closing up as the 2 leaders fight here. We'll see Van Leuven. He's back up to the points. He's managed to get around the Lotus there of Martin Sokolovsky. So here, the number 28 closing in on the lead, on the lead pack. I must apologise. Sets a Beth that one at 15.79. So he's got some time to gain here. If we've got a battle for 4th position ahead here, this is Lee Russell once again battling with the Ferrari of Stepanenko. So is anything going to happen when Team Orders? That's that battle for the lead ahead, side by side. That is the Benetton just about holding off the McLaren once again. There's battles all up and down the field here, so it's difficult to keep an eye on all of it. But yeah, McLaren not able to make the most of that. Drop back once again, all the sparks flying off Zenkov's Benetton there. That is absolutely fantastic to see. But going back further down the field here, this is Van Leuven once again. Had that contact early in the race for Scamorza, and he is looking to recover some positions here. Regaining 1 point for the time being, but there's a lot of action for 4 laps into the race. There's plenty of time to go in this, so hopefully I'll be able to have maintain my voice for the entire thing. But Russell, once again, he's in a Ferrari sandwich at the moment. He's going to have to look out for that as he gets a bad exit out of the final corner. That is that is Van Leuven all over him, and that is him around. I believe no, that's Lee Russell. Sorry, that's Lee Russell getting. No, it's Stepanenko dropping back. I'm not sure what's going on there. Sorry about that. But yeah, Stepanenko back once again past the McLaren, not able to make that stick. And that is Ferrari. He's pretty much swapping position there. So Lee Russell maintaining his 5th, and that is Van Leuven back up into 4th. But battle for lead once again. These two still going at it. McLaren trying to go around the outside with minor contact. The McLaren shuffle wide. and is back on the tail of Vlad Zenkov there. That's not the best graphic, I'll get rid of that one for the time being. 4 seconds between these two cars here. Breaking into the end of the second sector, into the final sector, is Benetton, McLaren. Benetton, the podium positions for the time, but with the poor starting Van Leuven, he's looking to return up to the front of the field and start chasing them down. Deep into the slipstream there is the McLaren of Kowalski, who will ride on board with him. Let's come into the first corner. Getting close under the braking zone, but not close enough to make a move. Lots of curb on the inside, on the apex of the corners. He's close once again, coming out of turn 3. Going down to run to turn 4. Defensive already goes Zenkov. Side by side once again. We are on the outside. Is McLaren once again being run wide. Zenkov doing a fantastic job keeping that McLaren off, but he's not able to fend him off so far. They're still side by side. There's contact and there's a spin. Can Zenkov keep out the wall? He's out of the wall. That is not going to do his times any good, but that drops him down to 5th position, and he will now have Nick Stepanenko in the Ferrari to chase him down. So Kowalski in the McLaren. Does he have damage? We'll have to wait and see. He is now leading the race. Timon Suvic in 2nd position, about 6 tenths behind, is going to be closing him in as well. Van Leuven as well, who started on the front row. He's going to be chasing down as well. That's Stepanenko in the background going very wide as he tries to chase down the Benetton. See if he can maintain track position and also try and gain any coming into the first corner. So it's all changed here. We now have McLaren, Benetton and Ferrari as the top 3 cars. Oh, there's a battle ahead there. That's Zenkov going diving down the inside of the McLaren. Sideways a little bit on the exit, but managed to hold it around the outside, turns to the inside for turn 3, and that is 4th position for Vlad, recovering from his contact there. But look at the train building here. That's a Ferrari side by side with McLaren. More contact once again. That Stepanenko is getting pushed around there. That's battling with Lee Russell. He managed to get round Lee Russell and is now chasing down the Benetton once again. Scamosa into the pits there, which is very early. Not sure if he's got damage or it's just trying to get some pit stops out of the way. Keep an eye on that one as that develops. Mitsalis as well is also in the pits, so I'm not entirely sure what for, but keep an eye on that and see if I can find out exactly what's going on. To the front of the field, Kowalski has a lead. Sander Van Leuven is coming down on the inside on the Benetton. Got the overspeed from the slipstream. We're going to have the Linus turn 1 dives down the inside of the braking zone. That is a fantastic move there from Van Leuven. And puts him into 2nd position and is now able to start chasing that McLaren down for the lead of the race. In the background there, Stepanenko is side by side nearly with Benetton, squeezing the inside of Zenkov. That's his move, but he's able to get down the inside, gets position from the Benetton, but it's not over yet. There's a bit of contact, it looks like, behind there. The Benetton got a bad run, and that's Russell having to check up to not run into the back, to run into the back of the Benetton. Once again, dives down the inside. Well, that was a very optimistic move. Nearly spins it on the apex. Still side by side, but has to back out there as the line falls away from him. That was a very optimistic move there from Lee Russell. It nearly paid off for him. Very nearly contact. Once again, he spun. Tyres overheated from that big lunge, and he is off. That might be some flat spots for him, and dirt, definitely some dirt on the tyres. So Lee Russell has some work to do here as he tries to chase back down the pack. And oh, who's that off in the background there? That was, I think, either a Jordan or another car. I'm not entirely sure what happened. Van Leuven into the lead and missed that. They're side by side with the McLaren coming into turn 1. Gets the move done. That was pretty basic there once again, but the move's not over yet. Kowalski is closing in, has a slipstream goes to the outside. This doesn't normally work for the car on the outside. Around the outside, just has to concede the position for now, but tucked under the rear wing of the Ferrari. This battle definitely not over. The number 8 is looking to make a challenge, goes to the outside once again. Van Leuven has to defend, but has the favourable line coming into turn 5, into turn 6, into the braking zone. Nothing there, but this is bringing Timo Suvic into this battle as these two hold each other up with the battle. It's a fantastic race so far, as these cars are really going at it. So we're not even 10 laps in. Scamosa has recovered into 9th position. He's got some time to find on the rest of the field. The brake car going very wide there, all over the curb. But manages to recover, flat out all the way to the start-finish line here. Right on board, so we can see how much he can close in. That slipstream is a bit of a ways back at the moment as the gaps start to increase between all the drivers here. Van Leuven is just going to try and hope to just drive away from the rest of the field now. The Benetton of Timo Suvic as well is dropping back. That's going to put him into the clutches of Nick Stepanenko within the next few laps. Just a little bit of a adjustment to my volume there. Hopefully that's a little bit better for everybody. But yeah, the gap's starting to widen once again. Looks like Van Leuven is using that pace now just to extend the gap in the lead. Two cars unfortunately have retired from this. Victor Cabello in the Minardi and Vadim Steblin in the number 4 car has retired as well, unfortunately. 4 car being one of the Tyrrell cars. So I think that was the car we saw stranded at the side of the road through the final corner. So unfortunate for them to retire so early on, but we do have plenty of laps to go here. Another 61 laps of this race, as everybody is really going really going at it here. As we see here, Nick Stepanenko in the McLaren. Oh, that's Zenkov spinning once again. Terrible kind of wheel spin, I think, coming off the first corner. Able to get it going, but he loses the place to Lee Russell in the McLaren. So Vladislav Zenkov is down to 6th position, still in the points, but has some time to find and some positions to gain once again. He's got 2.8 seconds to Lee Russell in McLaren. Stepanenko is really close behind the fellow Benetton driver, Timo Suvic here. Coming through the 3rd sector now. Not close enough for the time bomb, but he's going to tuck under the rear wing and get all the slipstream he needs through the first few corners and make him set up moving to turn 4. Oh, very sideways there into the corner was Suvic. He's able to recover and not lose too much time on the exit. If you get a bad exit out of this final corner, that will affect you all the way down this straight and into the first corner. So vital you get that right. 60 laps remaining. Plenty of time to go. Look at the slipstream really helping the Ferrari diving down the inside. Is that going to be a move? It is. That move sticks for the time being. Goes a little bit deep on the exit there, does Stepanenko, but he's able to hold on for the time being. He has to go defensive from Timon Suvic now. Just holds his position. What's Suvic going to do? He's not going to try the move this time. He's going to stay behind the Ferrari for the time being, and that is Stepanenko into 3rd position. So that is now Ferrari 1-3 this in the early stages of the race. Van Leuven has pulled a decent gap. He's about a second clear of the McLaren of Kowalski behind. And just seems to be pretty in control so far. Car looks very stable, as it gets a little bit squirrely out the final corner, but looks to be handling the pace well for the time being. So I'll have to wait and see when the pit stop starts to come in here. We've got Scamorza, who is closing in on Dale Borveg there for 8th position. So Scamorza, number 15, John, will be looking to gain some time and possibly gain as many points as he can in the towards the end of this race. So he's got some work to do after his less than ideal start, but he showed his pace early on in qualifying, and we'll see how much he can gain back towards the end of this race. Got about 15 seconds to the next car, 43 seconds off the lead of the race. Battle for 3rd position still not over, I don't think. There's only about a second between Stepanenko and Suvik here, so we'll keep an eye on that as it develops. Battle for the 1st position gap is maintaining it around a second as well. Not close enough here is Suvik. He's gonna have a little bit of slipstream, I believe, so let's ride on board with him just as he comes down the start finish rate. He might just gain a little bit seconds. Is that Zenkov in the pit? Yes, it is. So is this a schedule stop for Zenkov? Is possibly a penalty? We'll have to wait and see. Comes out of the pits now, steaming down the pit lane into pit exit. As I said earlier, no pit speed limit in this series, so you can rag it as quickly as you want through that pit lane. Don't have to worry about hitting anybody, but any additional cars in the pit lane could cause an issue. But that is Zenkov in the Benetton, staying in 6th position, but he does have Borweg quite close behind, about 3.5 seconds that he'll need to contend with, so just have to keep an eye on that one. So gaps are starting to widen between all the drivers now. The top 2 cars are within about 1.5 seconds of each other. Kowalski is doing a very good job to keep on the back of the Ferrari of Sander van Leuven. Breaking into turn 1 is, once again maintaining that gap. So not sure if he gets a little bit of better exit there, does Kowalski. He's gained about 4 tenths in one corner, so maybe a mistake from the leader there. You can see the gap. That's what a second looks like when you're that quick in a Formula 1 car from the early 90s. A bit of a yellow flag in sector 1 briefly there, but that has since cleared it. So Kowalski looks like he's a little bit stronger in the first sector. We'll see what the gap looks like towards the end of the lap. So over the line he's about 1.4 seconds behind. Last lap times Van Leuven was about 3 tenths of a second quicker than the car on board with the number 8 car. So we'll see what lap times are here, but Kowalski looks like he's had a decent lap here, and he's gained a good couple of tenths. So we'll have a look at the deltas as they come across the line. Fastest lap still sits with the car in 8th place with Scamorza. That's 1:49. Across the line there, 15:803 for second place car and 16:395 for Sander van Leuven. So not the best of laps here, and it looks like that is continuing. The slipstream really helping number 8 car here to close in on the leader. So the battle for first position not over, as there's some lap traffic ahead. I believe that might be Tony Mitsalis, if I'm not mistaken. So that's going to cause some issues for the leader here as he tries to navigate that. Blue flag's in effect, and that is the lap down car getting well out of the way. It's Minardi getting out of the way nicely, and the battle for second place continues. There's a little bit of a weird graphical glitch with the weather there. I do apologise about that. That has really helped the leader, it looks like. The gap has widened once again to about 1.5 seconds, so the traffic really Not helping the number 8 there as they come across the line. Did have a good start to the lap, but yeah, it dropped off towards the end, only about 6-7 tenths of a second slower. So these two are on similar pace at the moment, so we'll have to see how well they can maintain that. This is the closest battle we have on track at the moment, so we'll just stay with it. Through the first sector, the leader about a tenth quicker so far, so Van Leuven starting to push once again, maybe just trying to save some tyre life and just save a little bit of pace to fight off. Yellow flag in sector 2. Keep an eye on that, see if I can see anything that would cause that, but we're back underway. Scamorza really closing in on Dale Borwick there. He is about 6 seconds back. He's about half that deficit in the last few laps, so really flying there is the number 15 car, recovering from an earlier start. He was about half a second quick on the last lap, has plenty of time left in the tank. That was 1:18.7, his best at 1:14.9, so really has some pace in the tank to the 15. Battle developing for 4th position as well, as we see Lee Russell here in the McLaren closing it on Timon Suvic once again in the Benetton. 1.6 seconds at the line between these two cars. Right above the McLaren briefly here, as you can see. It doesn't look like much, 1.6 seconds, but at these speeds it really is quite the gap. Ooh, gap really closed up here. We see more traffic. Oof, that was a trouser moment for Kowalski there. Well managed to avoid the spinning footwork. No, not the footwork. The Tyrrell there. I think that might have been possibly Sokolovsky, as yeah, he drops a position to Tony Mitzalis, who is continuing on. No, it was a Lotus, sorry, that was the spinner. So very tricky moment there for Kowalski, and he is dropped back a little bit more there. The gap has widened once again to 1.7 seconds. Gap for 4th position has really come down. There's only about a second between the Benetton and the McLaren now. That looks like it might widen once again. Oh, there is a Minardi in the way there. That looks like it might be Mitzalis just trying to stay out of the way of the front runners. But not too much time lost there for Lee Russell. He is chasing down Tim Suvic. About 7 tenths of a second now, so this is getting really close, so we'll keep an eye on this battle as this one develops. Sokolovsky is closing and past Tony Mitzalis as well. That is for 9th position. So old school points this evening, as I mentioned, so that will not be for a points position, but this definitely will be. 4th position, fairly high scoring points paying position in this points format. Gap is now half a second. This is going to be Lee Russell's chance to get really close here as we come through the final proper corner. Oh, he gets sideways on the exit. That's going to ruin his run all the way down the straight. So commentator's curse there for Lee Russell. He's going to be cursing me after he watches this stream back. But drops back. It's only about 9 tenths of a second though. He might just be able to get some slipstream as he breaks into turn 1. Good entry for Lee Russell there. He's able to maintain the gap and should stay within the slipstream. Looks like he's struggling to put the power down a little bit as the McLaren sends all of the 600 on upward brake horsepower into the rear wheels. 10 tenths a second now the gap. Whoa, very squirrely there. Looks like the weather is starting to take a turn possibly. Here the track is looks like it might be cooling off. So I'm not sure if I can see any rain falling here, but could possibly be. That's not what I was expecting, but I'll have to wait and see. Oh, that's a spin once again for Lee Russell. Car really not under him at the moment. That is very unfortunate for him. Drops back, and that is going to be him falling behind Vladislav Zenkov as well now. So 6th position for Lee Russell. He's got some work to do. Into the first corner now. Zenkov has the gap over Lee Russell, but fight not over yet. Only about 0.8 of a second between the two. So Lee Russell really starting to despise the back of the Benettons, I think, as he is just looking to make his way through. Bit of strife causing. Oh, there's a big crash in the background. There was that. Kowalski. No, it wasn't. That was Mitzalis and the Minardi. That was a huge impact into the barrier. Surprised the car is still running, but that does look like it is fairly damaged. Yeah, that's not great. Look at the steering angle. That's definitely not right, and there's definitely rain falling there. So I believe it was. I couldn't quite see. But it looks like there might be rain falling. So this could really spice up the race. As unfortunate there for Tony Mitzalis. He's got to trundle his way back to the pits, nurse the car home and get that repaired. That could possibly be his race done. Back with the leader, if you see as Kowalski come into the pits, yes it is. So Kowalski pitting. Is he coming down to, is this a scheduled stop possibly? Yep, change of tyres and he is back underway. Fuel in the car and he is steaming down the pit lane as quick as he can, has to brake on the pit exit there. He will rejoin the race in 4th position. Going to be close on the exit as Kowalski comes alongside. Well, Zenkov, I do mean. Zenkov gets the place, so that's not ideal for Kowalski. He is down into 4th position as he's got to fight the Benetton now to get that position back. Gets to the outside, is going to try and swing it all the way around the outside. It's not going to work. And side by side once again, he's still held around the outside, sends it down there. It's going to turn to the inside for the next corner. What a fantastic move there for Kowalski. He's losing no time in getting ahead of that Benetton and has to start chasing down the race leader of Sander van Leuven. So time lost in the pit lane is not as much as it would be today. Obviously you don't have a pit limiter, so you can go as quick as you can. As we see Van Leuven coming into the pits now, locks the brakes, just about meets his pit box there. We'll keep an eye on where Kowalski comes out here, coming through the start-finish line now. And Van Leuven is coming towards the pit exit, so we'll keep an eye on this now. There's Van Leuven, not Kowalski, you can see. Coming out of the pit lane now. Is Van Leuven going to manage to hold on? I think he's just about got the gap. Yes, he does. And that is Kowalski about 2 seconds back. So it looks like that if he didn't manage to get held up with the Benetton, he probably would have managed to get a lot closer, if not past the Ferrari there. So maybe kicking himself for that one. So you see Scamozza here is getting very close to the Tyrrell there as well. That's no, the Lotus. Sorry, that's the Lotus of Bolway coming into the pit lane, and that is Scamozza up into 7th position. He'll be chasing down Lee Russell now for 6th, and now he's another 12 seconds he needs to find there. Back with the lead battle. It's about 1.7 seconds now. Yeah, flag in sector 3. Looks like everything's all okay so far. There's a big wash of understeer for the number 8 car there. Not ideal. About 2 seconds is the gap between these two cars now. The lap time's starting to really creep up here. 1 minute 22 for the number 8 car, 1 minute 25 for the Ferrari, but obviously that is an outlap, so keep an eye on what the lap times are going to look like. Not sure if it's showing up on my side, but there could possibly be some water down on the circuit. So we'll have to wait and see if that affects the cars, but we'll see what the track temps are looking like. Not the track temps, the weather conditions and lap times. Just come through the second sector here into the third sector. Gaps widening slightly here. Best lap still held by the number 15 car, Maurice Gamoza, still 1:49. So he's still showing that pace, and he is closing on the number 7 car. So keep an eye on that. 1:22s for both these cars. The cars will be nice and heavy on fuel now, as these drivers wrestle these cars around. Lap 25 of 71 here, so still a long way to go. And we still have 10 cars in the field here. Unfortunately, Vadim Steblin and Victor Cabello, both unfortunate retirees earlier on in the race. You see Timon Suvic in the pit lane now. He comes into for a scheduled stop, gets the car going, and he is going to remain, I think, in 6th position. We'll have Scamoza closing him in, but yeah, as that be close on pit exit. See what Scamoza can do here. He could possibly get another position. He did pit early, I believe. So we'll see if he can maintain that position. Looks like a Lotus just getting out the way there of the Benetton. And yeah, that is Suvic holding onto the position for the time being. Scamoza goes wide, trying to get as much pace he can out of that Jordan. So Timon Suvic maintaining 6th position after his pit stop. And we'll see what the other drivers can do to counter that. Zenkov in 4th position, number 5 Benetton, closing on Nick Stepanenko. 1.2 seconds is the gap at the moment. Last lap time for the number 5 car, 1 minute 23.1, 1 minute 23.6 for Stepanenko. So a little bit quicker. We're at half a second in that last lap, so we'll keep an eye on this battle because it's getting quite close, and this is the closest one we have on the track at the moment. Sander van Leuven in the Ferrari, the sister Ferrari in the lead of the race, is starting to run away a little bit from Jacob Kowalski in the McLaren. He's about 3.2 seconds ahead now. 1.1 seconds is a gap for the final podium position now. Breaking into the 2nd sector now. This is slow speed, kind of multi-hairpin twisting and turning their way through the infield of the track. Obviously back in the 70s and 80s, this circuit would have been a lot bigger, and I think go the other way around this part of the track, which is crazy to think of, as we see Borweg there coming into the pits in his Lotus. He is down in 8th position, just outside the points, and he will look to hopefully gain a couple more positions come the end of the race. But back to this gap now, less than a second coming over the start-finish line. Now we'll have a look at the lap times. Clearly the number 5 car, Zenkov, is quicker. He was quicker again by about 4/10 that lap, so a couple of laps more and he'll be right onto the back of the Ferrari of Nick Stepanenko. Not the best exit out of the turn 3 there for the Benetton. Braking into turn 4, managing to keep the car on the road. Very squirrely on the exit. Set down to the 2nd now. Yeah, the groove tyres on the car, so yeah, not sure if it's my graphic settings, which I'll obviously fix for the next race, but I think there is some water down on the circuit, which is caused the drivers to change tyres onto more appropriate tyres. So the grooved I think there might be the intermediate tyres possibly on the Benetton there. Gap coming down once again, half a second now between these two. Not able to fully get the power down was Zenkov there. He's losing pace on the start-finish straight to the Ferrari. Yeah, flag in sector 2, which I believe will clear itself ever so shortly. There we go. Gap still around 8 to 9 tenths of a second now, so starting to lose a little bit of pace is Zenkov, I think, getting into the dirty air of the car ahead, upsetting the aerodynamics ever so slightly. As that's not the best of corners there for the Ferrari. Gets a little bit wide, loses a little bit of time, but is able to maintain the gap for the time being. Gap remaining steady about. I say that gap's come down a little bit, a few tenths here in the second sector. No changes to position for the time being as the gap goes back up. But still within the slipstream, Zenkov just needs to get a good exit out of the final corner here. Flat out now, all the way down the start-finish straight. He's going to be well within the slipstream range of the Ferrari ahead. 7 tenths of a second still. Looks like the Ferrari is quick in a straight line, but the gap starting to come down. There's a big lock-up marks there from earlier, I believe. This is the best opportunity now for Zenkov. He's within half a second. He's got plenty of slipstream. Defensive already goes to Ferrari as one of the Lotuses comes out of the pits. I believe that's a Lotus, and then into the braking zone for turn 4. Not able to make a move stick there was Zenkov, so he has to hold on for the time being. Gap increases in the second sector, so the Ferrari certainly looks to be fairly strong through the second sector, and is able just to hold off the Benetton for the time, for that particular time. And then Zenkov just gains the time back in the slipstream through the high speed stuff, so maybe a little bit more downforces on the Ferrari. Yeah, you can see that on the I'm not sure how well you can see that, but on the tyre section there, everyone's on wet tyres, so there definitely is some water on track. There must be some of my graphic settings in the game, so I will change that for the next round. But yeah, inclement weather coming into this race, so my prediction, the start of the race where I said it would be fair weather, complete lies. Stepanenko into the pit lane, so he is in there. I'm not entirely sure what that was for. It was a fairly quick pit stop, so possibly a change. Oh, he's back onto the dry tyres. So the weather is getting better, it seems. Have a look on board. See, yeah, they are slick tyres. So Stepanenko taking the gamble now to go onto the slick tyres before everybody else and trying to get the jump as the wet tyres fall off. So interesting strategy from the Ferrari. We'll see how that plays out. Yellow flag in sector 3. We'll keep an eye on what might cause that. I think that's resolved itself. So weather is improving here at Interlagos as soon as I realise there is actually some rain on the circuit. Stepanenko believes it is time to go on to the slicks. We'll keep an eye on his progress. Scamorza as well coming out the pit lane. See what he is on in terms of tyres. He is on the slick tyres as well. So yeah, it looks like it definitely is the changeover point for tyres. Dry enough on circuit as we see the leader there going a little bit wide. He's going off for another lap on the wets. So Van Leuven clearly thinks that the current conditions still call for wet tyres. Very sideways on the curb there. It will be wet on that curb. So he has to be very careful. Yeah, definitely still on the wet tyres is our leader. He's got about 7.8 seconds to Kowalski behind. So let's keep an eye on this, see how it develops. Obviously, Stepanenko in the sister Ferrari on the split strategy now, and thinks it definitely is time. See what his lap times look like compared to everybody else. Last lap time 1:37.9, but that is obviously an out lap, so let's keep an eye on his time compared to everybody else. Everyone else in the 23s at the moment, 23s, 24s. Stepanenko coming to through sector 1 now, so let's keep an eye on him. Some pretty decent gaps between all the drivers at the moment, but we'll see Russell is starting to close up just a little bit on the number 27. So that's Kowalski in the pits. So let's go on board with Kowalski. He puts the slick tyres on. And back underway. That's a little bit of a top up of fuel, it looks like. He comes in Zenkov in the pits as well, so this could be vital now for Zenkov and Stepanenko, because these two were battling. So for the final podium position, who's going to come out ahead and who would have done it right the first time? Stepanenko is ahead. Look at that. So perfect time to stop for Stepanenko. He has got miles ahead of the Benetton. Into third position he goes and cleared him by about 2 seconds. So fantastic job there for Stepanenko. Yeah, back into 21, so about 3 seconds a lot quicker that last time round. Timon Suvik as well is back in the pits. I'm assuming he has changed for the dry tyres as well. 40 laps remaining of this race, and it's all not over, so plenty of action to go. Now, where does this leave our leader, who is one of the last cars to come into the pits? He's carrying on. He's definitely still on the wet tyres, so Van Leuven is just hoping to every god out there that he has enough pace to continue on those wet tyres for now. Yeah, his last lap time 1:22.8. So yeah, I mean the lap time's still there for Van Leuven. He's doing really well on those tyres. Possibly doing a Lewis Hamilton Turkey in 2020, just driving the wet tyre till it becomes a slick. So we'll wait and see how that develops. He's a little bit slower than Nick Stepanenko, the sister Ferrari, who is on the dry tyres. So he will be losing time to Kowalski here in the McLaren, who's got plenty of time. Between them, Russell is in the pits as well. He could be bolting the dry tyres back on. Seconds. 5.7 second stop there for Russell. He goes on the medium tyres. So we got Van Leuven in first position on the wets, Kowalski on the softs, Stepanenko in the mediums, and Zenkov on the softs, and then Russell on the mediums as well. So that's your top 5. Massive mix of tyres there. So Kowalski looking to gain as much time as he can. He's got 19 seconds to gain as Van Leuven comes into the pits finally to put on a set of dry tyres. And he's off, topped up the fuel, and he is good to go. So let's see where he can come out here. Where is Kowalski? He is not even come across the start-finish line yet. And Van Leuven is exiting the pits. So this is this has been a fantastic job to keep those wet tyres going from Van Leuven. He's got a good 4 seconds now on Kowalski in second. So, yeah, very good job to keep ahead there of by Van Leuven. You have to avoid those curbs though. That still will be a little bit wet as we see a yellow flag briefly in sector 1, which has now cleared itself. So, yeah, Nick Stepanenko has dropped back, it looks like. He was in third, but Zenkov is continuing on. So, not entirely sure how that has changed, but he has about 7 seconds to find now to Stepanenko on the Benetton. Yellow flag in sector 2. I believe that might just be a small off from somebody, which will clear itself. There we go. Ooh, you can see there, very sideways with the Ferrari there. He tries to get the power down. Oh, that's Minardi going sideways in the background. Able to keep the car going though was Mitsales, who's currently running in 10th position. gap coming down at the top of the field is 2 seconds now. So Van Leuven on the medium tyres, Kowalski on the soft. So obviously he's going to have the pace early on in the stint. And he is really using that now. He has really gained time. 18.4 for Kowalski and 24.7 for Van Leuven. So massive time difference there between the two cars. But obviously the tyres on the lead 28 car are going to last longer than on the number 8. So Kowalski really needs to use his pace to his advantage, as his stop will be his stint will be much shorter. Gets sideways, nearly loses the car, but is able to continue on. Russell and Suvik changing positions there. I'm not entirely sure what happened. Looks like possibly an off for Russell. He is back down to 7th. Into 6th, and Suvik is up into 5th. Back to this lead battle. Gap's extending again, now 2.7 seconds is the gap. So 1:18.5 for the leader and 1:18.7 for second place. So Van Leuven possibly having just a small off, just getting those tyres up to temperature. There comes the sun all of a sudden. So yeah, maybe just a small mistake, and he's really gapped the number 28 once again. Oh no, Van Leuven's. I do apologise. Van Leuven's gone off somewhere. I think he must have had an off into turn 1. So yeah, that's Van Leuven into second position. I did see the yellow flag. I didn't see him come out of turn 1. So yeah, that must have been a lock up into turn 1 there for Van Leuven. Unfortunately, we don't have the replay feature working, so I can't show exactly what happened. But yeah, that's Van Leuven into second position. So Kowalski in number 8 McLaren into first place, and is continuing what the real life McLaren did in 1993, exactly the same car. So let's see how this carries on. He's definitely got some pace in him. Does the number 8 on those soft tyres, but that's going to be a shorter stint, and it's going to have to be really wary of any of the track that is still slightly wet. Tomas Scamorza, who started the race on pole position, he is about 7 seconds behind Lee Russell in the number 7 car. So the number 15 Jordan still has work to do. He is on the soft tyres, so he is using as much of that advantage as he can get. Kowalski, interesting, still on wet tyres, so he's clearly not too worried about the pace on those tyres at the moment. Lee Russell, obviously, last lap 1:29, so he had the issue, I believe, dropping behind Timon Suvik. So yeah, we'll keep an eye on how that fight develops. Keep an eye on the fight for first position, as well as obviously Van Leuven will want to come back towards the front of the field. He's done it already this race, and he will want to, but won't want to do it again, but he will have to do it again. So, that car not looking ideal, is it? There, looks to be struggling on the tyres. Maybe obviously overheated from his off, or maybe has some dirt on them, or maybe a flat spot. Really struggling to get the car stopped there. He's really pushing though, try and get that position back. Driving angry as the Ferrari. So his face probably as red as the scarlet on the Ferrari. Going through into the first corner. Once again, just struggling to get the car stopped, it seems, but managed to get it done for now. Yellow flag in sector 2. Looks like it's around a small off. Yeah, look at that. They're really struggling there to get the power down, is the Ferrari, but manages to carry on. 1:18, some pretty identical lap times than the last lap. 1:18.085 for your leader, and 1:18.031 for the car in second place we are following at the moment. So into that, Scamorza has got past Russell somehow, as we were looking at that. So apologies if you didn't see that one. So possibly another mistake from Russell to put him behind there. We'll have a look at his lap time as he comes across the line. So for Scamorza 1:18.0, yeah, 1:26.1 for Lee Russell there. So mistake in that lap, which will drop him behind. But he is closing once again. Look at this. He's closing right up to the back of the Jordan now. So keep on this battle. That's the second behind now. We've seen Russell in this position a lot before, but this time it's not a yellow car. It's a blue car. Gap is widened to about a second now, as Russell gets some of the dirty air from the Jordan. A little bit wide of the apex goes the Jordan of Scamosa, who is now back up into the points after his earlier up. Bit of lap traffic ahead. That looks like possibly is that that's one of the Lotuses. I think that's Dale Borweg there. Just getting out of the way nicely, not interrupting this battle. So see, tied, I believe Lee Russell could possibly be on the softs, but I will double check that once I've got the data on the screen. Mitsalis is into the pits here. Looks like a scheduled stop, but of no consequence to this fight at the moment. Still 1 second there. Doesn't look like Russell just has the pace to stay with the number 15 now, unless he's within the slipstream range. So let's keep an eye on that one. And Marcin Sokolovski finally coming into the pits to get rid of those wet tyres. He's happy to go onto the dries now. Possibly looking to just drive it till his scheduled stop, so doesn't affect the strategy too much. Steering lock you have to put on through this corner here. It's a very tight corner for a Formula 1 car. I think famously Formula 1 cars do not have the best steering lock in the world, so 3-point turns in them quite difficult, and getting around tight corners such as the middle sector of Interlagos equally as difficult. Staying away from any curves. Yeah, you see Lee Russell gets on the curbs and just loses traction, so there's still some moisture down on those curves, which makes it difficult for power to get down. Obviously slick tyres on a painted surface, that's not going to result in any grip. Suvic in the pits again, which looks like it might possibly be a scheduled stop. He's back underway, down into 7th position. That puts Lee Russell back up into the points for the time being. But we'll have to wait and see what happens with the strategies and the stint lengths. Zenkov close to Van Leeuwen here. Van Leeuwen's really dropped off the pace. He's lost 10 seconds. As he's stuck behind Minardi, it's side by side. There goes Zenkov, nearly looking to find a way anyway around the Ferrari. They go 3 wide into turn 1. That was just about contact. Oh, and that's Zenkov round. They're very lucky to just get away with a little bit of contact there, but that was unfortunate. Just 2 cars into 1 corner. I'm sure the race stewards will look at that one after the race, but that is Zenkov looking to gain some more time now. No idea what's happened to Van Leeuwen there. He's lost such a amount of time. Maybe another mistake. Last lap was 121.1, so possibly a lock-up somewhere, which has caused some issues for him. So yeah, the pace in the middle sector of the middle part of the race, but just over halfway through the race now. Not really looking too good for Van Leeuwen here, but plenty of time to go in the race. He's 10 seconds behind the leader and has got plenty of laps to go to find a way past. He is going to be going on a longer stint, it looks like, on those medium tyres. But towards the end of the race, I think we will start seeing Maurice Scamosa, who was on pole at the beginning of the race, but 30 laps remaining in this race. On pole at the start of the race, had contact with Van Leeuwen, who dropped both of them towards the back of the field. Van Leeuwen able to fight his way quickly back up to the front and is now battling for the lead if he can get back onto the rear wing of Jacob Kowalski. But yeah, Scamosa back up to the points. He is going to try and come through and start challenging the other cars towards the end of the race, but not really making the progress he would have liked. He's 27 seconds back from the next car, which is Nick Stepanenko in the Ferrari. Lee Russell, though, still within a little bit of time of the number 15, 3 seconds back, so we'll just follow him for a minute. Gap starting to widen here in the mid part of this race as the drivers settle into the strategies and finally get some clean running away from other cars. There's yellow flag in sector 2, which has just disappeared again. Yeah, we'll start to see strategies converge towards the end of the race, I believe. The rain in the beginning part of the race just throwing off the strategies somewhat. Obviously, refueling was allowed, I believe, back in the early 90s of Formula 1. Tyre changes, obviously, a vital part of the races, as they are today. 4.4 seconds to the number 15 car now is Lee Russell, so starting to lose a little bit of pace to the Jordan ahead. But he's still got plenty of time to try and find some pace in that number 7 McLaren, which I believe, unfortunately, didn't have the best of races in the real life 1993 Brazilian Grand Prix. Losing more time. I say that. Oh, that's Scamosa round. He's had a spin, and that's put Russell ahead of him. So Scamosa, yeah, I saw the yellow flag and I heard the revs rise as he did himself a little spin turn. Yeah, another spin for Scamosa. So really not happy with the car, it seems, at the moment. Not entirely sure what tyres he is on. If I remember correctly, I think he might be on either the mediums or the softs. I think there's only one car on the hards, and I believe that might be Mitsalis, who is further down the field. But yeah, not ideal for the Jordan car, number 15. Hopefully not too much of a flat spot, but that gives him some incentive to start chasing down Lee Russell once again for 5th position. So Scamosa on the softs and Russell on the medium, so Scamosa should have the pace advantage, but the grip will start to wear away on those tyres a lot quicker than the mediums. So we've got 3 dry tyre compounds with us today. We've got the softs, which are the grippiest of tyres and the shortest lifespan. We have the medium tyres, which is a bit harder compound, less grippy than the softs, but last a little bit longer. Then we have the hard tyres, the least grippy of the tyres, but the longest lasting. Exactly the same as we've got in modern day Formula 1. So you have the choice of strategies. Do you use the soft tyres to push and gain the advantage over shorter stints, or do you use the medium or the hard tyres to push the pace out throughout the entire stint, go a bit longer and try and make your time back from just longevity of the tyres? Something you really need to think of as a racing driver. As we see now, I think Van Leuven is starting to close the gap ever so slightly on the leader. He is about 2/10 quicker that last lap than Kowalski. Yellow flag in sector 1, which I believe will just be cleared. Not entirely sure how true most of these yellow flags are, because I do know that the system does like to glitch out a little bit sometimes. Last lap, best lap for both drivers there, 1:15.5 for Kowalski in the lead, 1:14.9.55 for the number 28, so not far off the fastest lap, and one of the only 2 cars on the track at the moment in the 14s at this stage of the race. So Van Leuven is starting to fly. Someone who is also starting to fly as well is Scamosa as the weather gets better and better. 1:16.0 in the last lap, which is 2/10 of a second quicker than number 7. He spun again! has to get the car back under the right way. As just as I start to look at him there, commentator's go strikes again for number 15. That drops him outside of the points. Timon Suvic back into the points in the Benetton. He'll be happy to see that he's back in the points. Not happy to see that a fellow competitor has spun the car off, I'm sure, but happy to possibly receive some points if he can get it to the end here. But the race starting to fall apart even more there for the number 15, really pushing to get the car back into a good points paying position, but just the mistakes start to creep in. It's easy to underestimate how much physical and mental effort it takes to get these cars around, especially if you're running high-end equipment with direct drive wheels, some stiff brake pedals as well. You get physically tired very quickly, and mentally this track is draining. You've really got to keep focused for a long time, especially driving cars that can be as twitchy as this, so mistakes do start to creep in. But no such mistakes at the moment for Van Leuven, who is closing the gap even more. We've got 2 seconds quicker than Kowalski on the last lap. So he is flying at the moment and is looking to gain even more time. 5.4 seconds is the gap now. Personal best for Kowalski in the second sector, 38.9. Still a little bit slower, about 0.2 slower than the number 28. So this game of cat and mouse isn't over yet. Yellow flag once again in sector 3, which is cleared. But Kowalski is under threat now as the second half of this race gets underway. Last lap once again, about 0.8 of a second, 1.2 seconds, I do apologise, quicker than the number 8 car was Van Leuven. So he's really hustling that Ferrari, try and make up for his earlier mistake. Just about start to see the McLaren in the distance now, right on board, and you'll see as we come around the corner, just going round the hairpin there, was the number 8 McLaren. Gap down to 4.2 seconds. See what the lap times are as we cross the line. But this Ferrari really using those medium tyres. The pace on the softs seems to be falling off slightly as we've got a new fastest lap. Mauro Scarmoza has gone quick. Kowalski in the pits. So Kowalski obviously couldn't get those soft tyres to last any longer. New tyres on, fuel in, and he is underway. We'll see what tyres he has put on as he comes out the pits. My guess is probably will end up being softs once again. Yep, new soft tyres for the number 8 car. He will use that pace now to start chasing down the leader. He should have the pace over, plenty of space over the third position, Vladislav Zenkov. But he is going to try and use that pace advantage while he can. See how Van Leuven reacts to this. If he does, he might just want to run his own race and see how that goes. Unfortunately, we've had another retirement. Marcin Sokolovsky has retired from the race. Unfortunate that only leaves 9 cars running, but there's still plenty of action to be had on the circuit as the gaps start to close as people pit. Yellow flag sector 2 once again. Again, I'm not entirely sure how true that will be. Oh, it is a yellow flag. Van Leuven making a mistake, so maybe the tyre is starting to go off. Once again, there's mistakes creeping in for the top cars, and that is putting down once again into second place, 10 seconds adrift. So the reaction was, unfortunately, a mistake for the 28. This goes to show in a race of this length, looking 1.5 hours to 2 hours in length, you really need to be consistent and focused for that entire time. Kowalski doing a fantastic job at the moment, maintaining position just by staying out of trouble He's had a couple of minor contacts earlier in the race while battling, but he's made no mistakes. I've not seen him spin from my limited memory, that is. But he's doing a fantastic job of just keeping the car on the road, and that's the best way to do it. But Van Leuven, we know how quick he can be. He is closing the gap already. He's going to be driving angry once again to close in on number 8 and battle once more. But Van Leuven will still need to make a pit stop. Several pit stops to go in this race. We're getting very wide there, touching the curb on the gravel. The dirt there. Is Van Leuven. So, yeah, pushing the car as fast as he can. Scamorza is going purple in Sector 1. He is chasing down Timon Suvic, who got past him after an earlier mistake. So we'll keep an eye on this battle. This is the closest one we've got on track at the moment. Get down to 1.5 seconds now as we close out the lap. Sparks flying off the cars there as they run as close to the ground as they possibly can. Flat floors on these cars. Gone are the days of the ground effect at that time. But you wanted to run the car as low as you possibly could to maximise the airflow over the top of the car. Across the line, we'll see what the lap times were. Suvic doing a 1:14.8 and a 1:14.4 for the 15 car. So very fast times for both these drivers, but as you can see, a new best lap time there for Kowalski, 1:13.439. That's nearly qualifying pace. So he is doing a fantastic job of building that advantage he's got on the soft tyres over Van Leuven. Zenkov going purple in the second sector, followed by Nick Stepanenko. So the time's starting to tumble now as new tyres go on and the conditions on the track improve as the rain is all drying up. Got perfect dry running now. I believe that should be until the end of the race. 13.3, new bestest lap there for Nick Stepanenko. So those soft tyres doing a fantastic job for him. He is close as well to Zenkov. So the Ferrari in a battle once again with the Benetton. Purple once again in Sector 1 briefly there was Stepanenko. So he is really flying at the moment on those new soft tyres. 1.5 seconds is the gap. Soft tyres as well for Zenkov ahead, but the pace really is with the Ferrari at the moment. We're right on board with him for the closure lap here. You can see not far ahead at all is that Benetton. Flat out all the way. Gap built a lot, so not the best exit out of the final corner for the number 27. Battle getting closer once again with the number 15 and number 6. Oh, as the number 6 goes wide there on the grass, that's not going to help him at all. 0.7 of a second now is the gap. Let's ride on board with the number 15. Well within slipstream now. 13.1 is the new fastest lap time for Stepanenko, so the lap time's tumbling down now as everyone finds pace on these new tyres. Braking into turn 1, lock up there I think on the Jordan. Not able to find the gap is the number 15. He's still within slipstream range. He's going to try and make a move into turn 4. He's not going to be close enough this time. Braking heavily into turn 4. Needs to get a good exit to stay with the number 6. Just holding back for the time being. Doesn't want to get too close as the dirty air will upset these cars similar to as it does today. Gap gap still 7/10 of a second between these two. So the 15 doing a good job to hold on to the back of the Benetton. Now this is where the exit really counts. A little bit sideways with the Benetton ahead of Suvic. Out of the slipstream there, looks like it's 15 coming into the pits. Yes, he is. So the 15 deciding not to battle and to dive into the pit lane, change the tyres. So new tyres going on. Looks like there'll be soft tyres, I'm assuming. Fuel going in. A lot of fuel going into that car, and underway is a 15. So we'll see how that plays out. Stepanenko is closing in again on Vladislav Senkov. Yeah, if I get sector 1, not entirely sure what that would be. Oh, is that Scamosa? Scamosa's down round in the pit lane. What's happened there? He's not got going. Is that his front? Well, yeah, it's his front wing off. So it looks like he's possibly just got the car underway too quickly. He's spun the rear tyres on the cold tyres and just gone into the barrier. Stepanenko going faster once again. That's Scaramosa out of the race. So absolute disaster for the 15 car who started on pole. Has really not had the best of races, unfortunately. But he is out of the race after a crash in pit lane. Back to the battle for third position, final podium position, as the race is starting to draw towards the closing moments. Stepanenko, the quickest car on track at the moment, closing really quickly on that Benetton. Looks to the inside, go try and stick a nose up there, not enough room. Benetton closes the door just about. Doesn't bother defending thin air, a little bit on the grass there was the 27. No room around this part of the circuit, very difficult part of the circuit to overtake. Your best choice now, hold off and get a good run into turn 1 and possibly turn 4 as well, so that's right on board with the Ferrari. Down a start finish straight now, about 6/10 of a second behind. See what the lap times are going to be here. More in 13.9, so he's still quicker than the car ahead by 0.3 of a second. 1:14.2 was Zenkov there. This is where it's going to be important now for Stepanenko. He's not close enough. He's about half a second back when it comes to the braking zone. Really not got enough straight line speed. Didn't get a good enough exit out of turn 3. Just needs to hold on to the back of the Benetton here, try and fight the understeer. As we see Suvic into the pit lane now. No longer under pressure from the number 15 after that incident. 0.3 of a second now. The Ferrari definitely quicker around the middle sector of this lap, as looks like he possibly has a little bit more downforce on the car to try and get him through there as quickly as possible. Van Leuven in the pit lane to change his tyres. Keep an eye on that. About there, he was about 10 seconds back from Kowalski, but he was on a different compound tyre, so the medium tyre is not really working, it doesn't look like here. The soft tyre is definitely the strongest tyre. Looks to the inside there, the number 27, nowhere near enough room to make that stick. Way too far back, but the battle continues. Has plenty of slipstream there, as you can see. That is the number 28 ahead. So looking to the inside there is the number 27, not enough room. The door is closed by the Benetton of Zenkov, and number 27 Ferrari has to hold on to 4th position for the time being. Through turn 5 and through the middle part of the sector here, where we know that Ferrari is strong, stronger than the Benetton ahead of him anyway. Look at how close he gets contact, bumps him up the gearbox. There to Stepanenko. Just a little bit of a hurry up, it seems. Hopefully not too much damage to the rear wing of the Ferrari, which could cause some issues, but this is where the Benetton can defend. He's got great straight line speed, does the number 5 Zenkov. Holding on to that final podium position for the time being. It's the closest battle we have on track at the moment. Nothing Stepanenko can do at this stage. Has to be careful not to get too frustrated if he can't find a way past the Benetton. This could be a good opportunity. Can he dive towards the inside? Stays in the slipstream, looks to the inside, not able to make that stick. Once again, the door is firmly closed by the Benetton. Zenkov continues to hold on to that position for the time being, and in all that as well, number 28 is starting to drive away as getting to the second or so as these two continue to battle. Van Leuven onto the soft tyres now, so he will have to you'll see what his pace is like once those tyres come up to temperature, and see if he can match what the other drivers around him have been doing. Oh, there's Stepanenko getting round once again. Power too early on the apex and just sends the car. So that is now Stepanenko about 6 seconds behind, which is unfortunate for the driver of the number 27 Ferrari, but still some time to gain that position back. We say as Van Leuven goes quickest of all drivers, 112.9. So those tyres really starting to help now. The soft tyres are really the tyre to be on. He's gone quickest of all drivers, and he is chasing down. He's got 25 seconds to the lead car of Jacob Kowalski. So, but he did go 2 seconds quicker that last lap. So see how Van Leuven can do this. Can he maintain this pace? He's not gone as quick in the first sector. Possibly Kowalski starting to respond, but those tyres start to go off fairly soon. But wait and see how this develops as the race progresses. Getting towards the final 10 laps of the race. We'll have 11 to go next time the number 8 crosses the line. But he will have to make, I think, at least one more pit stop. I'm sure those soft tyres won't be able to go the entire distance of the race from here. So you'll have to do possibly a quick splash and dash towards the end to get some new tyres on. He's got the buffer to do it, 24.5 seconds, as I saw then. But a personal best in the first sector there for the number 8, a personal best once again for the number 28 as well. So both drivers pushing. 0.8 of a second quicker was the 28 lap time round. So what does Kowalski do here? Does he get the fresh tyres to see him to the end of the race and just save that pace, or does he just try and stretch it to the end now? Top 4 cars all on the soft tyres. Russell on the medium tyres. Only 8 cars remaining in this race, and 6 of them are all on the soft tyres. So it certainly seems to be the best race tyre at the moment. 23.7 seconds is the gap now. So the gap is really starting to come down as Van Leuven finds the pace. See what that time is. Come across the line now. 13.2 for Kowalski, 12.9 for the Ferrari. So Van Leuven is closing that gap. Is it going to be enough? I have to wait and see. We know how quick Kowalski can be on the fresh tyres. So if you're in Kowalski's shoes, what do you do now? Do you try and just stretch those tyres out towards the end of the race? You're going to have to make another 10 laps on those soft tyres. Oh, he spun! As I say that, we start looking at Kowalski. He spins, and that's going to really throw a spanner in the works there. Maybe the tyres can't go any further. He's got to start to think about pitting. One of the Benettons goes and unlaps themselves. So see what Kowalski does here. He's lost a lot of time with that spin. He carries on. Yeah, he carries on those tyres, so he must feel comfortable enough. 10 laps remaining in this race now, so this is getting to the vital part of the race. It does look like that Kowalski is starting to struggle a little bit on those tyres, but he will have them too high of a temperature after that spin. And that is Van Leuven going fastest once again with 1 minute 12.8. So he really is flying, and he is closing that gap hand over fist. does have a Minardi ahead. I think that's Tony Mitzalis, is the last running car. We've got Bulberg in the pits as well, changing those medium tyres. Looks like he possibly going to the softs to finish the race. .8 seconds is the gap now, so the gap continues to fall between the top two. Is there going to be enough time left in the race for Van Leuven to close down? We've got 10 laps remaining. It needs to be over a second, no, much over a second quicker per lap to even catch up to the back of the McLaren here. 1 minute 14.0 was the last lap for Kowalski. Van Leuven coming across the line now. But in a second, we'll see what his lap time is. Goes purple in the second sector, 12.5. So he's 1.5 seconds quicker there. So the time is tumbling. But oh, he spun! That's not going to be... well, that's definitely not helpful. Tries to get the car facing the right way. Hopefully no floor damage. He did take a little bit of a scrape across the car there. But that now puts Van Leuven under threat from the Benetton in third position. Look at this, it's less than a second now, so this has just been handed to Vladislav Senkov on a plate now. So rather than chasing down for the lead, Van Leuven, who probably will have some dastardly flat spots on those soft tyres, now has to defend from the Benetton. So Kowalski has been thrown a lifeline here. There's a footwork there, trying to stay out of the way. Oh no, not footwork. I do apologise. I think that is yeah, that's a Lotus. That is footwork, I believe. So the gap has widened 1.2 seconds between Zenkov and Van Leuven. So let's see what lap times are. The last lap time for the number 5 was a 14.0. Now, if that is the kind of pace that he's been doing constantly, and Van Leuven has been doing 12s, then obviously that will quickly increase, and the gap is increasing. But that was, I think, Van Leuven has thrown away an opportunity to get a win here. He has to count on the number 8 either pitting or making a further mistake. Looking at the car here, let's have a look on board, see what the driving style is like. Looks pretty smooth to me. See what the braking is like into the first corner. Top 4, as I said earlier, on soft tyres. Purple in the first sector was Van Leuven on that lap. 13.7 for number 8, so the pace looking okay. Let's keep an eye on Van Leuven's times as he comes across the line. Obviously his last lap was 22.8, but that included a spin. 1 minute 12.6, so still over a second quicker, but that's not going to be enough to catch Kowalski at the moment. So that's all that Van Leuven can count on here, is a mistake from the number 8 car, who once again has just been, well, he's had his fair share of mistakes with that spin as well, but it's just been more consistent than everybody else. So been a fantastic race for all drivers here. The gap has come up, I think I heard someone having a spin there. Looks like a lap down car. Oh, it was one of the Benettons. I think that was Timon Suvic. Yeah, it was. Looks like he had an issue. There's a blue flag as the leader comes through. But he is about 21 seconds off Lee Russell, who is just settled into his position for 5th. So, providing all those cars finish, Suvic will score 1 point and Russell scores 2. But Kowalski is able to get past. No problems at all there. Purple sectors once again for the the number 28 Ferrari. He goes quicker once again, 1 minute 12.356. So again, over 2 seconds a lap quicker than Kowalski in first. But he really is running out of time here. Sector 1 yellow. Don't think there's too much to concern us there. Gap is under 20 seconds again. Number 28 is going purple in Sector 1. You see how much the gap is tumbling corner by corner. He really is pushing and hustling that number 28 Ferrari, but that one mistake has really just thrown it for him. Certainly made his life difficult. 79 through the first sector was the lap time for Van Leuven. See what it is coming through the second sector now. 37.1. So that was about a second quicker just in that sector alone. 14.0 is the last lap for the number 8 car. Cross the line now. Van Leuven 12.3. So again, just under 2 seconds a lap quicker. 5 laps remaining in this race now. And the gap is at 18 seconds. Right on board with the Ferraris, you can see Van Leuven hustling this car as quickly as he can. Sparks flying off the rear wing, the front wing, sorry. And everything slows down as we come through the second sector. We'll slow down. Subjective big slap of oversteer there. So see how much number 28 is pushing the car. He's really got to hope for a mistake from number 8. If he just carries on piling on that pressure, then that could happen. Gap is under 17 seconds now. Purple once again in the second sector. 13.7 was the lap time for the number 8. We'll see what that time is. Can Van Leuven go quicker once again? Yes, he does. I won it 12.8182. So he is absolutely flying quali lap after quali lap here for Van Leuven. That Ferrari doing a fantastic job, but it might be a little too little too late. We'll have to wait and see. Gaps are fairly spread out across the entire field now as the race is drawing to a close. And I must say, it's been a fantastic opening to the season. Not the biggest turnout this evening, but the action has been absolutely fantastic. The first few laps, you just didn't know where to look at all. And yeah, not the car I expected to see on the front towards the ending of the race. Jacob Kowalski doing a fantastic job to get that car to where it is. He's starting in third position, I believe. I'm third or fourth, so he's done. Got some big gains on positions there. But not the start of the season that Morris Camorza would have wanted. Issues at the start with Van Leuven, who we're watching now, and going out of the race after a spin, and which I'm assuming is a stall in the pit lane as he had his crash, so he is not scoring any points this time. 1.1 seconds quicker that lap was the number 28 of Sander Van Leuven. Jacob Kowalski, though, doing a fantastic job just to manage the end of this race. Here is that McLaren. Looking to emulate the late Ayrton Senna, who won this race in real life back in 1993 in similar conditions in terms of the race itself. But was able to manage the changing conditions very well, was the McLaren. We have 2 more laps to go, so we'll follow the leader now as the race draws to a close, and what's been a very exciting opening to this 8-round championship. Coming to turn 4 now. Last lap time for the number 8 car in the lead. It was a 13.089, which was a personal best, and 1 minute 12.8 for Van Leuven in second, so possibly just backing off now as the best of the tyres has gone. But what a fantastic job, just to mention, Kowalski has done to get these soft tyres so far in the race. He put these on a long time before Van Leuven did, and he's just managed that gap perfectly and managed the tyres really well, so fantastic job from him. As he comes on to the final lap now. So onto the final lap comes the leader. As you see Mitsalis doing one final pit stop just for some fuel, it looks like. But coming through the first corner, all over the curbs there. Doesn't need to push at all. He's got a pretty solid gap. Looks like Van Leuven has just backed off, tried to save just save the position he has. He's got a good 7-second gap over Vladislav Zenkov in third position, the Benetton. So he'll just want to bring that race to a close. There he goes, 1:14.3. 1:12.8 was the last lap there for Kowalski, so he really isn't slowing down. Personal best, that one. Oh, he nearly spins. Oh, don't throw it away now. No, Jacob, you really don't need to start throwing this away. Just bring it to the end, my friend. Coming through the second sector, those tyres must be absolutely shot by now. Through the final braking zone, big lock up as you go in, but that won't matter. Able to get the power down, and this should be a straight run here. So the first round of the ASRC Formula 1 1993 season goes to Jacob Kowalski. Fantastic result for him and for McLaren. He would be absolutely ecstatic with that result. Well done to him. We'll see Sander Van Leuven, who I think will be happy to have come away with a second after the start he had. It could have been a win for him, but good recovery for him to come home in second position. Vladislav Zenkov as well will come home in third position, only 3 seconds behind. That is your top three. And then Nick Stepanenko is going to round up the top four as he comes round the final corner now. And there he goes. That is Stepanenko in the Ferrari, coming home in fourth. Fifth position will go to Lee Russell. A solid result for him. And then we have Timon Suvic, who has already finished the race in sixth, and Dale Borwick as well in seventh. Eighth position, Tony Mitsalis, who is just bringing the car back round to the pits, and that is your final results. So we'll just quickly run through the results of this race here. Fantastic race. We've got Jacob Kowalski in the 8 McLaren, who takes the maiden win of the season, followed by the number 28 Scuderia Ferrari Sander Van Leuven. A very interesting and mixed result for him. Vladislav Zenkov in the Benetton taking home third position and a final podium position there. Fantastic result for him. And Nick Stepanenko in the sister Ferrari coming home fourth. Fifth position we have Lee Russell in the number 7 McLaren. Timon Suvic in the Benetton coming home in sixth. Dale Borwick, fantastic result for him in the footwork. Mugen Honda coming home in seventh. Just missing out on points in the first round of the season. And then your final finisher, Tony Mitsalis, coming home in the Minardi. So that has been the race this evening. It's been absolutely fantastic to watch and to commentate on. I sure hope you enjoyed it, and do I apologise if there were any technical issues in that stream, which will definitely be fixed for the next round. Speaking of the next round will be at Imola for the San Marino Grand Prix in 2 weeks' time, so we hope to see you then. Until then, my name is David Buckley, and I will see you next time.